How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
Welcome back to another edition of the Disney Dish Podcast with Jim Hill. It's me, Len Testa, and this is our show for the week of Schmersday, July 14th, 2025. On the show today, in news, is this the name of a Halloween Horror Nights house or a Morrissey song? In surveys, you wake up in the Mojave Desert where a naked man wants his money. Then in our main segment, Jim continues the story of how the Jack Sparrow and Barbossa figures were added to Pirates of the Caribbean attractions. Let's get started by bringing in the man who says that libraries prove we need more public spaces where nobody's allowed to talk. It's Mr. Jim Hill. Jim, how's it going?
It's going well, and it's speaking of not speaking at libraries. Have you ever seen a mime outside of a library? I mean, talk about committing to a bit. I mean, that is some real Department of Redundancy department stuff going on there. And speaking of libraries, now you live in New York City, Len. Do you ever go to that branch of the New York Public Library on 5th? The one that backs up against Bryant Park.
Oh, it's beautiful. If you go upstairs, you get a view straight down the road. It's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and this one, folks, you probably would know from film because it's the famous one with the steps and the stone lions up front. Well, you know who used to work there on those steps in the early 70s? Robin Williams. In fact, Robin was just one of 20 acting students accepted into Juilliard in 1973, and during his starving artist days, Williams would busk. He would perform as a mime for change for the tourists going by, and they drop in his hat. And I bring up Mr. Williams today because, last week, Len and I mentioned the outtakes from Back to Neverland that periodically pop up online. This is where you can see legendary newsman Walter Cronkite giving Robin some very serious side-eye as he begins to ad-lib, go off script during the shooting of the film that supported the magic of Disney animation thing at MGM. And on the heels of Len and I mentioning those outtakes, I think that was part of a Patreon exclusive show we did last week. Mm-hmm. Friend of the show, Andrew J., went looking for those outtakes, and unfortunately Disney Legal had pulled them down again. Not to worry, though, Andrew, given the way the internet works, those outtakes will pop up again very soon. But in the meantime, Andrew found a video of Robin in the recording booth recording some stuff for Back to Neverland, which Andrew then sent along to Len and myself, which was a lot of fun to watch, and we're including that in the show notes this time.
There's a link in the show notes, yeah.
Cool. All right. So, as a thank you back to Andrew, who, just like myself and Len, are huge Robin Williams fan, we're including in this week's show a photo that David Soren took in Central Park back in 1974, which shows a then just 23-year-old Robin Williams and another Juilliard student working as mimes. And to provide context on this is a full year before Williams begins doing stand-up, 4 years before Mork and Mindy explodes. But if you look at the photo, he's a baby. Anyway, thanks again to Andrew J. for sharing that video of Robin Williams doing voice work on Back to Neverland. I owe you big time, Mr. J.
That's fantastic. I love the idea of Walter Cronkite looking at Robin Williams' side-eye when Robin Williams goes off script, because it feels like giving a script to Robin Williams is like playing the national anthem before a baseball game. It's basically a formality that you do before things actually get started, right? But it's not the thing itself. Anyway.
No. That is very, very, very true.
All right, Jim, let's do a quick shout out to our subscribers. Thanks to everyone who subscribes to the show over at patreon.com/Jim Hill Media, including Max Jackson, Sweeper749, Nifty Niff, Steven Selikoff, Splash Mommy, and Scott Tattleman. Jim, these are the Kilimanjaro Safari cast members who stand in for various animals on break, so the guest experience continues uninterrupted. They say the hardest species to imitate are the elephants and the giraffes, because you have people standing on shoulders to be that big. And they go on break themselves with the okapi, the ghosts of the forest, because nobody expects to see anything there anyway. True story.
Very cool. Can't wait to not see them.
Exactly. I can't wait to not see you at work.
There
Exactly.
we go.
On to the news, folks. The Disney Dish News is sponsored by DVCRentalStore.com. Have you ever dreamed about staying in deluxe accommodations at Disney for a fraction of the cost? If so, the DVC Rental Store connects guests with incredible savings on Disney Vacation Club resorts. Whether you're a DVC member looking to rent your points or a guest who's looking to stay in style, the DVC Rental Store offers a seamless process for both. And don't forget, they also offer exciting point swaps for unforgettable experiences like cruises and adventures. And the DVC Rental Store is currently running a limited time promotion where they're now offering the lowest prices of the year. So check them out at dvcrentalstore.com/DisneyDish. All right, on to the news. In Walt Disney World, Jim, we have now dates finally for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party.
Oh.
Yeah, there are no major changes to the number of events, the dates, or the entertainment lineup, so pretty consistent with last year. Still 25 party days, over 43 calendar days from November 7th through December 21st. There was a small price increase at the upper end, and that's now $245 per person with tax. But, Jim, we're going to see pretty much the same party in 2025 as we did in 2024. That's my guess. What do you think?
Okay, well, I know that's pretty dear, the 244, but that's for, I want to say it's the first one and then the latter ones, right?
Right. It's the on either end, yeah.
Yeah. It's still, I mean, given the entertainment and the experience, it's still a value. I mean, I've always enjoyed doing this.
Oh, yeah.
Even when it's still in November in Central Florida, it can still be warm.
Yeah.
You're standing there on Main Street USA blinking the snow out of your eyes. But
I remember one time I was in Hollywood Studios and it was December and they had just rolled out some, Christmas cookies or whatever, and it was so hot that the frosting had melted on all of the cookies, so you couldn't recognize what the shape was supposed to be.
Snowflake, possibly reindeer.
Santa with like melting makeup on his face. It was amazing.
Nothing says sweet treat like a Rorschach test, Len.
Exactly. And speaking of holidays, Epcot's Festival of the Holidays will run from November 28th of this year through December 30th. Also, no major changes to the entertainment lineup there so far. So we'll have the holiday storytelling, the same cookie stroll, and the candlelight processional. But I think the voices for the candlelight processional, the narrators, will be announced later on.
Okay, one final addendum to this. Christmas in July has just begun on the Hallmark Channel, month-long programming event. Nancy, huge fan, so we had it on here at the house. Disney World Resorts are a huge sponsor of this thing.
Are they? I mean, demographically, I see it.
No, absolutely. But they have this honestly 100%. Brilliant ad where it's effectively the train from the Magic Kingdom done as a little train around the tree and going past the setups for the Magic Kingdom and the Epcot and MGM. And you finish the commercial and it's like, why is my phone in my hand? Why am I booking a trip?
Why is my credit card already on the table?
There we go.
They do make great commercials. That's fantastic. By the way, Jim, true or false? The one thing you should never say to a woman watching the Hallmark Channel is, haven't we seen this one before?
Oh, yes. No. Yeah, and if that woman is a Tyler Hines fan, you bring that up, you can lose an arm. I'm just saying. Just keep moving, pal.
All right. Exactly. Nothing to see here. All right. Also, Jim, Test Track is going to use a virtual queue for pass holder previews ahead of its official opening. Not really surprised. We sort of expect that for brand new rides. Jim, and speaking of openings, have you heard anything at all about previews for the Magic Kingdom's new Disney Starlight Parade? Because it's supposed to start in, 10 days?
Yeah.
We've heard nothing about cast member previews, no soft openings, no AP previews, no...
I am just saying, in the great tradition of the original Electric Light Parade, where, Len, we've shared this story, on the night it debuted for the press, the people who were assembling the floats were leaping off of them as they rolled on stage. So, this could be a rerun. I'm just saying.
It's a little odd that we haven't heard anything. Right?
I agree.
10 days from now.
I agree.
All right. Also, Jim, I want to file this little note away for later. Our own Christina Harrison was taking a lap around the Magic Kingdom monorail the other day and noticed some survey work being done in the area between the Grand Floridian and the storage canal for the electrical water pageant. So I texted our friend BioReconstruct to see if he had a photo, and BioReconstruct responded within a minute, so I'm pretty sure now he's just stationed in geosynchronous orbit these days. I don't know.
Okay.
He's going to offer his own internet at some point. Anyway, There's definitely a cleared work area to the west of Adventureland and Frontierland. That's for the Cars Land. Sure. And I included the photo that BioReconstruct sent me as well. But what I'm talking about is the area that is south of that. Mm-hmm. And it's along the walkway between the Grand Floridian and that canal. And Jim, I know that this looks like it's large enough to hold its own resort. And I'm saying if Disney wanted to build a Magic Kingdom adjacent hotel like Helios at Epic Universe, having the land already cleared by an earlier project like Cars Land would definitely speed up a construction timeline, don't you think?
That it would, Len. That it would. And let's remember that the primary function of this canal, because remember, there was no electric light or water pageant on the books planned for that resort when it was initially designed. That was something that was created for the opening ceremony and then just never went away. This waterway was always there so that the Mark Twain or the Liberty Bell or the Richard F. and whatever they called it, could leave the park and then go over to Central Shops to be worked on there in Bay Lake. And let's face it, that's no longer necessary.
Right. Yeah, there's no longer a riverboat to need maintenance, right?
Yeah. So this piece of real estate now, the only thing that's parked there in that canal, and it's down toward the bottom, not toward the top, so to speak, are the actual boats for the electrical water pageant. So, this is an interesting piece of the canvas to suddenly open up.
It is. I don't think that the area directly to the west of Adventureland is good for a hotel because the hotel would look over the infrastructure back there for all of the buildings. But if you go a little bit farther north, closer to where Big Thunder is in Frontierland, then you start seeing almost unobstructed views of the park from that part of that land. So maybe? Yeah. Anyway, it's an interesting idea.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Also, Jim, Universal Orlando announced Halloween Horror Night tickets on sale last week, and they cost $88 to $131 per person, depending on the date. Runs August 29th through November 2nd, with more houses being announced. And Jim, I'd like to introduce a new game to the podcast. And the game is called Halloween Horror Nights House Theme or Song by Morrissey. And you have to guess whether the title I'm reading here is from an HHN house or a song by the Smiths lead singer, Morrissey. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Galkin, Monster of the North.
Pass. I think I actually saw that in a double bill with a Godzilla movie once, but...
Exactly.
Oh, okay. What else you got?
So that was a Halloween Horror Nights house.
There we go. Okay.
How about this one? I Bury the Living.
Other than an activity usually at a Hill family reunion, I'm going to say Morrissey.
Morrissey, very good.
Okay.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Grave of the Flesh.
Oh, okay. Wow, we're back to the Hill family reunion. A Halloween Horror House, I think.
It is very good.
Oh, good. Okay.
Hairdressers on Fire.
Okay. I was nowhere near that place, all right? I know people have been saying things. I was out of town, and that can of gasoline. I don't know how it got in my car. Morrissey.
Hairdressers on Fire is a Morrissey song. Should be a Halloween Horror Nights house.
Okay, cool.
Dolls, Let's Play Dead.
It sounds like a Halloween Horror House that I do not want to go to.
It is. How about a song from Under the Floorboards?
It has a good beat, catchy tune. I'm going to say Morrissey.
Okay. All right. Hatched and Chains, Demon Bounty Hunters.
Morrissey?
No, Halloween Horror Nights. Kick the Bride Down the Aisle.
Again, something I've been accused of previously. A Morrissey song? Really?
Morrissey.
Wow.
Very good.
Okay.
I Thought You Were Dead.
Again, we're bringing up my first marriage, Len. Halloween Horror Nights?
Morrissey song.
All right. I'm not doing well here, folks.
Margaret on the Guillotine.
Let's not forget about Stephanie on the Tilt-A-Whirl. Again, all right. Morrissey song.
Morrissey. All right.
There
And
we
then
go.
the last two Halloween Horror Nights houses, Jason Universe, Friday the 13th, and then El Artista, a Spanish haunting. So looking forward to all of those.
Yeah. Woof. Okay.
On to surveys. Jim, we have a survey from Kevin here, and it's a new Epcot survey. And I wanted to go over a couple of these questions here. The first one is this. At the Walt Disney World Resort, we periodically update the rides, shows, restaurants, and shops in our parks, which might mean that they're closed or undergoing renovations for a period of time. Did you notice any closures or renovations at Epcot on the day of your visit, yes or no? And the reason why I point out this question is that Kevin said no, but I went back and asked him, and I said, were you there for some sort of test track preview, or did you forget that it was closed? And he's like, I totally forgot that it was closed. Which brings up the question of this. We talk about things like Wonders of Life being closed for forever.
Yeah.
But are we at the point now where no one expects it to be open?
Well, what is the JFK quote? The city on the hill.
Right.
It just, I don't even look at it anymore and register, oh, that's someplace I used to go. I mean, it's been so long. I mean, it's generational.
Yeah, it's been one generation since it's been open. Yeah.
Groove.
There's some other interesting questions in here, and they're specific to recent things that Epcot's been doing. So one question is, did you experience either of the following offerings during your visit to Epcot early in July? And one was Celebración Encanto, and then the other one was Communicore Plaza and Hall.
Oh.
But Jim,
Okay.
that was the only question about whether you experienced those things. What's going on there that they want to know specifically about these two things in the center of World Celebration?
Well, I mean, we've talked about this on previous editions of Disney Dish, that Communicore Hall looks like that underfunded community college, and the Mirabelle show, the Celebration Encanto, that's actually outside, just in front of the entrance of this building, right? And
it's outdoors, and you can see it and hear it as you're walking around World Celebration.
Yeah, so I guess it's one of these things where maybe in regard to Celebration Encanto, the notion of maybe they're looking at tweaking the performance times during the summer to
right.
Just the notion of, okay, we're not catching the crowds at 11, 1, and 3. Let's move this thing to noon, 2, and 4. On the other hand, I think the question, so you missed the entire giant building.
Well, you mentioned the entire building, and I think that's where I was going with this question. So remember, before Epcot was redone, if you were going from either side, east to west, west to east,
right,
in Future World, you had to go through
the
two Communicore plazas, right? That was the main walking path. And so my question now is, with the redo of the pedestrian walkways in Epcot, are they simply not getting the foot traffic around Communicore Hall that was there before, but is no longer there because you've got all these smaller paths now? Is that part of it?
That is an excellent question. And again, face it, the hard rule of managing a theme park is first you build something, and then the public teaches you how they're using it. And I think you've actually stumbled upon it. Maybe now that the work is supposedly done on World Nature, World Celebration, World Discovery, and they're looking at the way people are actually moving through this space, it's like, oh dear, we need to create some weenies. We need to create some stuff that will drive people in this direction, because these shops, these restaurants, or whatever are dying.
To their credit, I think the middle part area of World Celebration is very pretty. It feels very natural, even though it's all concrete and man-made.
Yeah.
But, they've got those little groupings of tables where you can sit outside, and it's wonderful during, the cooler parts of the year. But remember, there are no straight lines on those paths. And I wonder now, too, with the addition of the landscaping that's there with these non-linear paths, whether people either can't see Communicore from certain parts of, basically Future World, or whether they don't know how to get there and there's no obvious path because there's no straight lines. That might be it.
I think you're definitely onto something there. I mean, the hard reality is you just mentioned the landscaping. That does nothing but grow. And so the sight lines that may have been there even just last year are now beginning to erode. And now they're a year or more in and have observed how guests are using this space. And it's just sort of like, okay, back to the drawing board.
I envision a series of pedestrian blockades now that everything funnels you through Communicore Hall in the future.
Yes, but they'll be mouse-shaped, so it'll be on theme.
The other question that I liked in this one was the following, and it was about the recent Cool Kids Summer things that Epcot's offering. And it says this. Basically, there's the same kind of question, but asked two different ways. One is, did you experience any of the following? And the second part is, how important do you consider these Cool Kids Summer things for your overall experience at Epcot? And so it's things like special character experiences during early morning entry, a dance party led by DJ Dance Pants, the Fun for Families with Kids guide map, and then indoor play spaces, which is Goofy Core inside Communicore Hall. So Disney really wants to know whether things like this are must-haves, nice-to-haves, don't-needs, or didn't experience.
Yeah, and let's face it, Epcot historically has had issues with attracting small children. So again, interesting that these two surveys are out there at the same time.
Yeah, and I like the fact that it's very prompt. I mean, they're on the cutting edge of this right now. All right, Jim, my friend Kyle sends in a Warner Brothers survey about potential immersive experiences in Las Vegas. And so Kyle writes in and says, they wanted to gauge my interest in potential immersive experiences based around a number of different franchises, with answers ranging from I'm not familiar with this property to I'm very interested in this property. Some of the IPs mentioned were Friends, House of Dragons, John Wick, generic horror monsters, DC Comics, and The Hangover. And Kyle included the concepts for The Hangover, which we're going to go through here.
Okay.
So he says you can see in the concepts below, although I lost the screenshots with the sequence where you went to a strip club and someone in your group ends up marrying one of the dancers in a Vegas chapel, including the strip club in an immersive experience like this in Vegas seems like a bold choice. But here we go. The setup for this encounter is this. It's called The Hangover Experience. Step into the chaos with 5 iconic scenes from the movie The Hangover, brought to life right in the heart of Las Vegas, where it all began. This 65-minute cinematic adventure immerses you in unforgettable moments complete with themed rooms, surprise encounters, and the wild unpredictability that made the movie a classic. Get ready for a hilarious, high-energy experience through the mayhem. And so the next question is, how interested are you in this experience? And if you say you're interested, you get the following. Now we'll walk you through the entire experience. The images shown are illustrative only and not actual images of this experience. Your hangover experience begins by checking into your 5-star hotel and immediately being upgraded to a presidential villa. Through a trapdoor in the hotel bedroom, you find yourself on the hotel rooftop. Here you'll be surrounded by a 360-degree projection of the Las Vegas skyline, and you take a life-changing tequila shot as a group, and suddenly, everything changes. The walls slowly disappear, and you're in the middle of the Mojave Desert. A blacked-out SUV appears, and a naked Mr. Chow bursts out of the car demanding his money. He orders you to climb into the trunk of the car, where a slide is hidden, and you slide into the next room.
Oh!
As the elevator doors open, you're faced with a mountain-sized bodyguard. Alarms go off as you've been caught breaking into Mike Tyson's house. You're shown an AI recording of you and your friends drunkenly stealing from his house all the items you've just pawned. He sets an animatronic tiger after you, which chases you down a hallway.
Okay.
I have the concept art in the show notes. It's amazing. As you get away, the roars of the tiger start to disappear and you find yourself back in your hotel room. The room is now trashed with broken TVs, drinks and bottles everywhere, and the party to end all parties is in full swing. A chicken is running loose, a mud wrestling match in the bathtub, Marilyn Monroe is fighting with drag Liza Minnelli. Your adventure ends here as you join other groups in an open-ended party. Sign me up. Do it right now.
Okay. My only concern is, well, first of all, the price point. Basically, what you'd be paying for is a virtual blackout drunk experience in Las Vegas.
That you remember in Las Vegas,
where, to be honest, I'd have to compare and contrast. How much will it cost for a real blackout experience in Las Vegas?
That's a good point. Yeah. Is it cheaper?
Okay.
The thing I love about this is the concept art is drawn like one of the classic 1960s Mad Magazine.
No, absolutely. Thank you.
Cartoons.
Yeah. I was wondering why I recognized this style. You're right.
Did Al Jaffe do this? Yeah, exactly.
Al Jaffe. Thank you. Okay.
It looks amazing. Also, the other thing I wanted to know, whoever came up with this concept art, how did you see what was inside my head? Amazing.
Don't say that out loud when Laurel's nearby. Okay, I'm just saying. Okay.
Fair enough. All right, on to listener questions. Jim, here's one for you from Chris Holland. Mm-hmm. He says, we're trying to plan out how to use our Grand Californian DVC points over the next few years. Because we have school-age kids, we're mostly tied to summer trips. What impact do you think the Los Angeles Olympics will have in 2028 on Disneyland in that summer? Do you think there'll be special events and offerings that'll make the trip special? Will there be higher crowds or lower crowds? Is it a good time to go or a time to avoid?
Well, if the historic pattern holds from 84, ironically enough, right, Chris, it'll be a great time to go to Disneyland, because famously what happened in 84 is people in Los Angeles had been told, oh my God, the traffic will be terrible. So the locals left.
Right.
And as a direct result, a lot of Southern California tourist attractions, which were anticipating having a banner summer, actually had lower attendance, and in a weird sort of way, the parks were semi-private. And I'm not going to lie, the folks who came to town for the 84 Olympics had so much better a time because there was so little traffic on the roads, because again, the locals had left. So now again, that's only if the pattern holds in 2028.
Jim, I think the thing that is going to reinforce your belief here, though, is this. People couldn't work from home in 1984 as easily as they will be able to in 2028. And I think if the city is saying, look, if you can work from home, mm-hmm, work from home, it'll lower the traffic, it'll reduce the smog, right?
Wow.
I think you're going to see a lot of people staying home during the Olympics, not necessarily getting out of town, mm-hmm, but not on the road. So yeah, I think it's going to be better.
That's an excellent point. Yeah. Okay. Please circle back in 2028, Chris, and tell us whether we were right. Okay.
Yeah, Chris, but definitely do. Yeah, definitely get back to us. All right.
Okay.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, Jim continues the story of how Disney got the Barbossa and Jack Sparrow animatronics into Pirates of the Caribbean in time for the Dead Man's Chest premiere. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
The McDonald's Snack Wrap is back. You brought it back. Ranch Snack Wrap. Spicy Snack Wrap. You broke the internet for a snack. Snack Wrap is back. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Finding a new job is stressful. But with Indeed, it doesn't have to be. Just fill out your Indeed profile with your skills, experience, and desired salary. The more you fill out, the better your matches will be. And hearing from hiring managers will be 2 times more likely. Relax. That's your Indeed profile sending opportunities your way. Indeed, the world can work better.
And we're back. All right, Jim, mm-hmm, we left off last week with Curse of the Black Pearl, mm-hmm, which The curse wasn't really on the Black Pearl. We talked about.
There we go.
But being a fantastic movie that did bonkers box office business.
It did. It did. It was the fourth highest grossing film for that year worldwide. Only Lord of the Ring, Return of the King, Finding Nemo, and The Matrix Reloaded sold more tickets. And by the way, I specifically bring up Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, and The Matrix Reloaded because, again, those films were parts of trilogies. And by October of 2003, just 3 months after the first Pirates has arrived in theaters, Disney is already thinking Curse of the Black Pearl could be a jumping off point for that studio's very own homegrown trilogy.
Yep.
So, Ted Elliott and Terry Russo, these are the screenwriters that you'll recall from last week. So veteran producer Jerry Bruckheimer hires to turn Disney's rather blah script for Pirates into something worth shooting. They're tasked to go back to the original film and sort of tease out individual story elements that can then be used to sustain 2 more installments of this series. And then planning begins in earnest to begin shooting Dead Man's Chest and At World's End back-to-back, Len.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So everything is now on a far grander scale this time around. So again, 8 months of construction. After that happens, shooting gets underway in February of 2005 with the idea that second film in the trilogy will arrive in theaters July of 2006, and then the third installment of the trilogy will drop just 10 months later in May of 2007.
Right.
But here's the thing, Len. You'll remember from last week's show, Michael Eisner was upset that the studio had spent $140 million to make the original Curse of the Black Pearl. Again, 4 times what they spent on the Country Bear movie. Whereas with Dead Man's Chest and At World's End being shot back to back, we are talking an obscene amount of money up front. Dead Man's Chest, Len, all by itself cost $225 million to make. And if you can believe it, At World's End production costs even top that. It's cost $300 million to make, and at that time, the third Pirates movie was the most expensive film ever made in Hollywood history. And by the way, Disney managed to top itself just 10 years later. The first Disney-made Star Wars movie, The Force Awakens, that cost $447 million to
Insane.
make.
All right, so but I get that the Pirates movies could be expensive because they shot a lot of these things on location in the ocean in the Caribbean, right, and in South America, right?
There we go. Yep.
Yeah. And anytime you're shooting in the ocean, it's more expensive, right?
Oh no, totally.
Okay, but did they make their money back?
Well, yeah. Actually, the what's interesting is if we take the studio spent again over $500 million to turn Curse of the Black Pearl into a trilogy, but that trio of films then goes on to sell $2.6 billion worth of tickets worldwide. And on the heels of that success, we get further installments of the series on Stranger Tides in 2011, Dead Men Tell No Tales in 2017. More to the point, Len, this is why for the past 5 years, Disney has been trying to develop a Johnny Depp-free Pirates movie. That's largely on the heels of the whole Me Too Amber Heard thing. Johnny's still kind of radioactive, and which is why Disney's been exploring this idea of having Margot Robbie play Captain Jack's daughter. But anyway, that's where we are today, July of 2025. If we jump back now to the summer of 2004, again, Michael Eisner is staring down the barrel of having to greenlight production of 2 additional Pirates movies, and he has to put up $500 million to do it. And so this is when Michael turns to his trusted lieutenants in the Team Disney Burbank building, and it's like, what if these movies don't do as well at the box office as Curse of the Black Pearl? I need a safety net. We need additional revenue streams just in case these 2 movies don't do Curse of the Black Pearl level business. And so something to soften the blow. So this is why, starting in 2006, Disney Consumer Products puts a metric ton of Dead Man's Chest and At World's End toys out on store shelves.
And I think the ironic thing there, Jim, is when Curse of the Black Pearl came out, there was almost no merch available for it. I remember having difficulty trying to find a movie poster about it. They were that rare. And like, forget about, toys or, souvenirs like the gold pieces that Disney eventually sold in the parks and stuff like that. The Aztec gold. There's nothing. So they bury the needle in the other direction. And I'm guessing that they go 0 for 2 here or 0 for 3 on the movies. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and here's the ironic part. Whereas Lightning McQueen and Mater, they look very, very different from Mattel's Hot Wheels. So those sold huge. Whereas this is the thing about Pirates of the Caribbean toys. A pirate ship looks an awful lot like a pirate ship.
Yeah,
and that was the thing. The film-specific stuff just did not sell as well as Disney had hoped. And in fact, in addition to turning to consumer product and say, give me Pirates toys, Eisner, in the same window of time, says that the parks should have a Jack Sparrow walk-around character. And but here's the thing, Len. Eisner learned this was possible Halloween of 2003 when a trick-or-treater showed up at the Eisner family Malibu compound in full Captain Jack Sparrow garb. And evidently the outfit was so screen accurate that Michael, when he's handing out the full-size candy bars, is like, did you get this at the studio? Do you work for Disney? And it's like, no, he's just a fan who made their own authentic-looking Captain Jack Sparrow for that Halloween all by hand. And it wasn't until the following year, 2005, that people could go to a Spirit Halloween and buy their own made-in-the-Orient, not authorized by Disney, Jack Sparrow costume, which, again, kind of irk the people in Disney Consumer Products.
So, Jim, I remember running a Disney race, and I don't remember which one it was. It's some sort of half marathon, and running next to somebody in a complete Jack Sparrow outfit. But not only did he have the outfit, he had wrapped a bottle of rum to his hand so that he could run with a half-empty bottle of rum. But he also didn't just run; he staggered. And, wove his way like he was drunk for 13 miles and change. It was just an amazing effort, physically to do it. Just fantastic, yeah.
And just thinking of doing that in boots that came out.
Exactly.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, these people are better than me. Anyway.
Back to these people who'd make Jack Sparrow outfits. Again, another reason they upset upper manager at Mouse House is that some of them made a very good living making appearances at children's birthday parties, openings of car wash, your office Christmas party, and Disney's attitude is like, that's our IP. These people are stealing Disney's money. And so there was this flurry of cease and desist letters, and more to the point, Disney fast tracks a Jack Sparrow costume for the parks, one that was a face character, and I'm sorry, face characters, for those you don't know, folks, this is a cast member who portrays somebody like a Disney princess, a Belle, an Ariel, a Snow White. They don't have to wear a full body costume and a giant rubber head. And more to the point, they can actually talk to members of the general public when they come out from backstage. And we don't need to get into it in today's show, but there is kind of a caste system when it comes to the cast members who work the character side of the street. The face characters are considered the park royalty.
Yeah, princesses on the top, then all the other face characters. Yeah,
the zoo crew, so to speak, and they're called that because they play ducks, dogs, bears, and mice. Just are the sweaty working class. All right. Anyway, back to our Jack Sparrow walk-around costume. It's created by the park. Auditions are held. Performers are hired. Rehearsals are called. But then, as Captain Jack Sparrow begins appearing in Disneyland in the summer of 2004 as a walk-around, things start to get interesting, Len.
I remember this. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
There we go. Certain female park guests, not all of them, just a vocal few, begin behaving irrationally. They see the cast member who's playing this face character and then react as if it's the real Johnny Depp playing Captain Jack Sparrow in the parks. And to be fair, Disneyland Entertainment Department kind of owns a little of this because they did an excellent job when it came to hiring the young men who played Captain Jack Sparrow in the park. Some of them had striking resemblance to Mr. Depp. Not only that, a bunch of them did an absolutely stellar job of mimicking Captain Jack's distinctive vocals.
Yeah. I actually knew a Jack Sparrow from back in the day, and all of the stuff I heard from them. Yeah, but you're right. Looked enough like Johnny Depp too. Could mimic the voice well enough with this sort of like Britishy, drunk British accent. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah. So these women, they arrive at Disneyland. They see Captain Jack Sparrow wandering through the streets of New Orleans Square. Yeah. They temporarily lose their minds. They scream. They chase after them. In some cases, these face characters got their costumes torn, which, by the way, never happened to Captain Hook. Just saying. So what do you do when you have a Disney walk-around character that some theme park guests insist on treating like a really for real rock star? We'll get to that in the second part of the story in a moment.
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there's one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at friskies.com or visit your local store.
My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
And we're back. Okay, Len, just to recap, we have cast members dressed as Captain Jack in Disneyland, summer of 2004, who are being treated like they're the real Johnny Depp. So women screaming, running after these walk-around characters, tearing their costumes. By the way, not cheap. I'm told that each Captain Jack Sparrow outfit for the parks cost $60,000 just to make.
Wow.
Which, by the way, we acknowledge is expensive, but the Tinkerbell outfit that went into the Disney parks in this very same window of time, mid-2000s, this is when the Tinkerbell costumes were changed at the park to be screen accurate for those CG Disney fairies home entertainment did. The characters of the park were considered a crucial part of the promotional efforts for this direct-to-video series. So this is why the company spent $100,000 to make and maintain these things with custom wigs, shoes. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And again, if you think about Captain Jack Sparrow with his wig and his beard, and we were just talking about the boots,
the compass, the everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's just lots of very expensive to maintain things being a key part of this character's look. So, given what's going on with these women back then, the park was, well, what can we do we want to protect the performer, but we especially want to protect the costume. So, what do we do? Well, for starters, and again, did your friend ever talk about this? Disneyland takes Captain Jack off the streets of New Orleans Square, and then they put him up on some of those wrought iron balconies that one can see in the side of the park.
So
and
the thing my friend said was that was actually more dangerous than the crazy people.
Well, yes, because we talked about this at a previous Disney Dish. A lot of those are just decorative. They weren't
decorative railings. Yeah, they're not. They're not nailed to anything.
But anyway, but now Okay. Captain Jack begins making appearances up on those balconies. He's addressing the passing throng, and traffic in the street line would stop. Which you know from the touring plan side of the business, that part of the park is a key.
It's a choke point to get to Critter Country and stuff like that. Yeah, you couldn't do it.
A Haunted Mansion, Splash Mountain. And you have tens of thousands of people trying to go either way, and you have this clot of people who've stopped dead because that's Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yeah. You actually couldn't get into Pirates of the Caribbean because there was a pirate.
Oh, no, and again, I love that. I love that. The irony that Captain Jack is preventing you from getting into Pirates. So, again, all of this is, it's just sort of like, how do we fix this? What do we do? And again, remember, this is 2004, 2005, and what's so funny is just across the way, this still relatively new California Adventure is struggling to attract any customers.
Right,
and they're like,
right.
So, like, please send Sparrow over here. You know, we've got lots of wide open spaces that women could chase him to their heart's content.
Maybe he's visiting California for Coronado's gold. Who knows?
There we
right?
go.
Yeah.
There we go. So, all right. Anyway, they have to figure out how to address this issue. And again, it's hitting that sweet spot, giving the guest the opportunity to see this character in the park while at the same time not have that performer be mobbed. Len, it takes the parks 18 months to figure this out. And by the way, one of these ideas, which was explored down here in Florida, was a Pirates of the Caribbean themed dining experience.
Why didn't we ever get this?
Well, all right, you're going to love this. All right. Do you remember Beau Famille's Cafe?
At Riverside? Port Orleans?
Yeah, it's the full-service restaurant that used to operate at Port Orleans. They closed it back in August of 2000. And the interesting thing is that they kept it in place. In fact, it's still there today behind Scat Cat Club's The Lounge, right? But it's where Disney has its test kitchen for the parks. This is where, if they're thinking about getting a new themed restaurant up out of the ground, this is where they do it, right there behind the lounge. And so they brought in a bunch of focus groups. And what they did is they had this dining experience where you're in there and suddenly the pirates arrive, and it's the auctioneer, and it's the redhead. And last but not least, it's Captain Jack Sparrow. And people just loved Captain Jack Sparrow rolling up to their table and eating food off of their plates. And but in a weird sort of way, this is kind of Star Cruiser revisited. It was just one of these things where it's like, what's our price point? What's our throughput? Does this make any sense financially?
And it's at a moderate resort where there aren't, I think at that point there weren't any character meals there.
Yeah, and ironically, this is what kills the idea. Now, mind you, while this is going on, we are still getting cast members dressed as Jack Sparrow, but they are the paprika of theme parks, Len.
Yeah, the saffron of live entertainment. Okay.
There we go. All right. You would see one, for example, the Once Upon a Christmas Time parade. There'd be a pirate ship unit, and Captain Jack would be on it. And it was effectively a twofer for the park. The performers were now easy to see. More to the point, face character of Captain Jack is out of reach. He's on a moving float in the middle of the street. So there were very few women who made a run at him then.
Yeah.
Finally, late 2005, 2006, Disney catches a break. The white hot popularity of Captain Jack Sparrow begins to dim during this period. Again, we're in that period after Curse of the Black Pearl has been released to theaters and production is underway on Dead Man's Chest at World's End, but we're a year out from it being in theater. So this is when the Captain Jack Sparrow pirate tutorial experience.
Oh, yeah. What a fantastic little live performance.
It was, but the interesting thing, the hiding in plain sight aspect of this show was the character Mac, who acted
the bouncer.
No, that's exactly. He was supposedly in the role of the MC, but in reality, he was the bouncer for this Captain Jack meet and greet. He was the one who would be eyeing the crowd, and if there was somebody who seemed a little too excited about interacting with Captain Jack Sparrow,
that's me. But go ahead.
Just signal the Disney security, and then that guests would be pulled aside where they'd been told in no uncertain terms that the performer playing Captain Jack Sparrow was not really Johnny Depp, and that if this guest continued to act inappropriately in front of young children, they would first be escorted out of the Magic Kingdom and then not allowed to return to the day. And should this guest persist in behaving badly, they might be banned permanently from Disney property. And yes, this did happen to a few folks. There were those who became obsessed with certain cast members. In fact, I'd love to talk with your friend about that, because that was a thing. They were evidently guests who would just become obsessed with one.
There are stories that can't be told in polite company. Yeah.
There we go. All right. So moving on from that point, the Captain Jack Sparrow's pirate tutorial ran in the parks through 2018. The fifth film of the franchise, Dead Men Tell the Motels, had debuted in theaters the previous summer, 2017. And given what was going on in Mr. Depp's personal life at the time, it was decided that maybe it was time for Captain Jack Sparrow to take a rest. Now, not inside of the actual Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Captain Jack, Captain Barbossa, and even Davy Jones made their initial theme park appearances in that beloved attractions, by the way, in 2007. And we will get to how that happened in the next installment of the series, which is posting later this month on Disney Dish, because we've got a special episode next week, and then so the week after that we'll try it. Okay, cool.
There's a couple of things I love about the Jack Sparrow character in the parks. Number one, he's no longer doing the pirate tutorial, but he is still a walk-around character in Adventureland in Walt Disney World. You can see him out several times a day, and the enthusiasm that the cast members playing Jack Sparrow are bringing to the character continues unabated. The other thing is that it's still a great character, and it's one of the Disney characters that is allowed to be funny and like a wisecracking. I was talking to a friend the other day, and we were talking about like what made attractions like Muppet Vision appealing. And my thing, I thought about it for a little bit. My thing was it embraced the silly and the absurd in a way that a lot of Disney rides don't, right? So like the Muppets, right? If you think about it, Kermit's in the middle, and Kermit is like the neutral observer, and there's chaos all around him. And the absurdity of the chaos played off against Kermit is the thing that's funny, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And Disney doesn't do a lot of that. But like Jack Sparrow, right, could look at something that Disney is trying to take seriously, point out how absurd it is, and then have a laugh with the guests. And that's funny, right? The juxtaposition of the two things is what makes it funny. So yeah, Jack Sparrow's a great character in the parks. Yeah,
no, it is, and that's the thing. The spirit of that character in the park. You're there at the happiest place on earth, and here's this drunken sot coming at you. I always enjoy seeing him in the park. And again, the cast members who play this role just lean into it and have so much fun.
Oh, it's fantastic. Also, the current version of Happily Ever After Fireworks still contains a pirates sequence in it. And so that film is over 20 years old. We're still referencing that like it's a Disney princess classic. So the Pirates has an enduring ability. And by the way, I know that it's the Pirates from the movie because the soundtrack that they play is the movie soundtrack, not the ride soundtrack. It eventually goes into the ride soundtrack. But yeah, the other thing I want to point out is Disney's still going to open later on this year, that pirate-themed lounge in Adventureland. And I think this is where we might see Jack Sparrow and his crew showing up occasionally to greet guests. We'll see.
And filch fries off of people's plates.
Exactly. All right, folks, that's going to do it for the show today. You can help support our show by subscribing over at patreon.com/JimHillMedia, where we're posting exclusive shows every week. Our latest show is the wild expansion plans of Disney MGM Studios, and there's a link to it in the show notes. Next week's show, we're going to try again to have Don Hahn and Chris Merritt to talk about their new Disneyland book. You can find more of Jim at jimhillmedia.com and email me, len@touringplans.com. We're produced spectacularly by Eric Hersey and David Gray, who'll be performing as Florence and the Trash Pandas at the 11th Annual Sellers Raccoon Festival on Saturday, October 25th, 2025, right after judging for the raccoon-themed quilting contest that's on Main Street in beautiful downtown Dillon, South Carolina. While Eric and David are doing that, please go onto iTunes and rate our show and tell us what you'd like to hear next. For Jim, this is Len. We'll see you on the next show.